All right. So it's been a long awaited time I was going to do this video in which I'm giving my perspectives about Mr. Young, DJ Akademiks, and his whole entire thing of talking about the hip hop pioneers and what have they contributed to the game and this broken dusty rhetoric and all this other stuff. And the thing I really find amazing about DJ Academics on a surface level is that everything he's done so far in his career has always been about hip hop. I mean, in a new era, in a new sense of the way, like whatever is gravitating towards the culture now, drill rap and you know him teaming up with Takashi 69 in the past, us knowing that he was teaming up with Takashi 69 as a marketing ploy because he needed that shine and he was going to get that shine off of Takashi 69. But that could be a story for another day. But I really enjoy it when a lot of these dudes that they get into the position that they're in and they have to always bring up external things to make it seem like they're more powerful than somebody else. I mean, me personally, in which I feel like LL Cool J is going to relate to when I show this video a little bit later. It's amazing that everybody always wants to talk about the monetary work, that the monetary stuff that you got in order, the monetary value of themselves before they talk about the accomplishments that they've made. I mean, and a lot of the times you got to understand, a lot of people is getting money for doing bullshit. You understand? I mean, we already know that, simply you can just go ahead and put out porn and make money off of that, OnlyFans. You could make content in which you're trying to be a comedian and your jokes isn't really funny, or you do pranks, or you do this and you do that, and you get money off of that. People are becoming multi-millionaires, millionaires, thousandaires, and all this other stuff from different reigns of different things. So to equivalate this whole entire thing about getting money and broken dusty, it's all about the legacy that you leave behind. But I'm going to give my thought process on DJ Academics later because I find it funny that he used this as a way to sit here and talk down on past people in the hip hop game and try to basically shit on the legacy that was brought on by these people. So I'm going to play the video and give my thoughts. So peep.
Sure you recording this or screen recording it or something so that you guys get it. I don't go live a lot. I haven't really been going live since, the pandemic, but this is something that came to my attention. It came to my attention that a DJ, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't think it's necessary. A DJ basically said that, a lot of the pioneers in hip hop are, they're dusty, or how can they be the person that, invented hip hop if, they don't have a lot of money.
My thing about it is any business venture that you start off with, you're never going to really, I mean, let me not say never. Everybody starts from the ground up, right? So the thing about it is there's so many stories and success of a lot of the millionaires and a lot of entrepreneurs that today who really started off where they could have been homeless or they could have been living in dirt poor or squalor conditions, in which they knew that in their heart that their ambitions and the fact of the matter, they wanted to get out the cog machine and the cog wheel of the 9-to-5 hustle and really to make something for themselves to give back to society is what was in their drive and their vision. See, a lot of people, and this is why I want to have a conversation on this. A lot of people believe that being rich solves your problems. It doesn't. I can't be the one to talk, but at the same time, just understanding the psychology of like what it is. I mean, everybody's looking to be up from where they are. Honestly, if you're the average working man, the average working woman, you always want to find a way so that you don't have to feel like you're in the same position every single time. You want to be able to pay for your house or apartment and not feel like, oh, well, I don't have no money this month, or I want to be able to go shop, or I want to be able to travel without any problems. Everybody pretty much for the same on the same rhetoric. Everybody's pretty much the same. We always want to get to a place of living where we don't have to really worry about things financially. So I just find it amazing just to start out this video, not that LL Cool J saying it, but just the fact that DJ Akademiks really wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for him doing commentary on hip hop in general. So it's kind of like a fuck you, dude.
Or if they don't look or represent like they have a lot of dough, right? Let me explain something to you, and say this for you guys. Don't confuse someone's ability to develop a business model. Don't conflate. In other words, don't think just because somebody knows how to get money or fails to get money that they didn't make a contribution to the culture.
And with that being said, I agree. And what I will also say is this: never judge a book by its cover. See, a lot of times, a lot of people see these, or a lot of people see these memes on Instagram, or these social media sites where, I like to make this analogy because it reigns true. Where you see a lot of people who's usually rich, they usually wear like the most basic outfits, and they won't even really focus on what they're wearing. They're always focused on what is it that they're building, whereas the one that's poor, or the one that's usually into vanity, always wants to prove themselves by wearing expensive clothes, jewelry, sneakers, and all this other stuff. And I know that in the rap game, more specifically by the time it was the late 80s, early 90s, vanity started to be a talking point. Vanity started to be one of those type of things that rappers really wanted to focus on in the game. So it was always copping the newest Benzes and dressing up in Eastern European clothing and all that other stuff. And then, the 90s are famous for the Timberland, and Timberland was actually ousted for the brand representing some type of branch of slavery in a tree logo. That's a whole different conversation, but I hope you get what I mean.
No one discusses Miles Davis's bank account.
Nope.
We don't talk about John Coltrane's bank account.
Nope.
We don't talk about a lot of even rock musicians, a lot of them. We don't talk about their bank accounts. A lot of great country artists, we don't talk about their bank accounts. This idea that you have to have money or else you don't have any value is a bad idea, and it's kind of like it's a misinformed way of looking at the world and the culture. There are artists.
My question to the viewers before he continues: does money equal life? That's something I will pose to anybody who's listening. Now, we all want money. We all have money. We are able to do whatever we have to do. Even a homeless person can have some type of money on them. But the thing that I want to pose to the viewers that's listening to this video: do you value money over life? The things that you accomplish in this world, does it matter because you have money, or is it because you truly wanted to do it with your heart and because your soul told you to, or the Most High gifted you with that? That's a question you got to ask yourself.
Out here, first of all, let me say this. First of all, let's talk about like young artists, right? Who I love. I love the young artists. Let's be clear. I'm very much a guy who embraces the young artists. I believe in every generation. I believe in you. I care about you. Let me say this to you though. Today, you could come up with your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, your 20-year plan. You can go find a manager. You can find an accountant. You could find somebody that means something to you, to help you. You could find a team to help your career go to the next level. When hip hop first started, there were no managers. There were no accountants that believed in it. Record companies didn't even believe in it. Nobody believed in it. How can you make a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan on something that doesn't even exist yet, that people have never even heard of? So just because a couple of these guys and girls and people out here made songs and made music and made contributions to this culture, or even dancers danced and made these contributions go, just because they didn't get rich, just because they weren't able to pile up millions or billions of dollars, does not mean that they didn't make a contribution to this culture. That does not mean that they didn't do something. They created an industry that we all ate off of. They created an industry that you eat off of.
And mind you this, once it got started in the 80s, later down the line, a lot of these like cartoon companies, beer companies, soda companies started taking upon that plight and started, you know, using rap in order to big up more of their companies and corporations. Like, for instance, we all know that St. Ides beer was put in the program to get Black men to drink more beer, and then Sprite in the early 2000s, and a bunch of these companies, man. Sprite is always doing ads with the latest hip hop stars so that they could keep running their advertisements and getting people on the map. Also in the late 80s, the Flintstone shows and stuff like that, a lot of this stuff have banked on hip hop once they started to see how much that this type of genre of music can affect the populations that's around them in America to be spread out amongst the world. And then even the fact that when it comes to graffiti being involved in hip hop culture, went from starting to do graffiti on regular places out there in Philly in the early 1970s to spread to New York City from the 70s to the 80s. And then after that, graffiti is discovered all the way in Europe, and they still graffitiing on trains out there. So never take what the pioneers with a grain of salt and try to shit on them when they had it harder than what you have today, you ungrateful bastard.
When you go out there and you go monetize your brand, when you go monetize your brand, when you go get your whatever and do what you got to do to build your career, when you go out there and negotiate your deals and negotiate your checks and talk tough, guess what? That money, that bread, that food that you eating was created by those same people that you disrespected. That's right. That industry was created by them same people that you call in, you know, foul words, foul language. The people that you're referring to. So my thing is this: it's always good. It's always good to get money. It's always important. It's important. It's important to get money. I agree. I'm all about getting paper. I've been talking about it my whole career. But don't ever, ever, ever confuse being rich with making a contribution to our culture. Don't ever play yourself like that again. Because trust me, you playing yourself. Because without these dudes and these girls who started this hip hop culture, a lot of the guys that's out there talking tough, you wouldn't even have a career. We'd be on the corner with a beer.
And I just wanted to share that little video really quickly to give to, because I think it was very pertinent that LL Cool J gave his thoughts in his process about the whole thing, because I agree. My thing about it was someone like DJ Akademiks, who's built his career off of being a clout chaser, has built his career off of being a commentator in hip hop, because we all know how he started off. He started off with YouTube, giving a daily news and a daily scoop about these hip hop stars and stuff like that. Later down the line, he made a mockery of the Chicago drill rap scene in 2012. And a lot of people was mad at him about that. Then he rose to fame and he clout chased off of being around Tekashi 6ix9ine, did a whole entire EP doing a mockery off of it. And, you know, still to this day, he was clout chasing with that thought Colina, whatever the hell her name is, Powell, whatever the hell they are. You know, like, it's just amazing when people always want to bring up riches and bring up money to demean a fellow man or demean people when you don't know their stories, or the fact of the matter, they've been knocked down so many different times and they finally rose to the top and they become humble and understanding, hey, I took a lot in the L's to get here. So you never forget where you come from. And in terms of the hip hop culture, starting off with DJ Cool Herc and a couple of other people, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. It's just kind of funny how someone like DJ Akademiks doesn't understand that. Now, I've seen certain brothers sit up there and talk about his age and talk about he's a millennial trying to relate to Gen Z. I don't try to do generational talks, but in terms of this, DJ Akademiks would be nowhere if it wasn't for him noting the culture. You understand? And then, all these opportunities falling into his lap in order to gain more money. Because let's really be honest, that whole entire thing he did on Everyday Struggle was nothing more but a struggle podcast. I'm just being honest. It was a struggle podcast. They needed to be able to create a market where the virtual podcasting is winning. They need people who's going to be add controversy to the show. They figured, let me take the girl that's been doing journalism and being a journalist. Let's up the stakes a bit. So let's get Joe Budden, because Joe Budden is the some type of figure of controversy, and let's add DJ Akademiks because he's known for controversy, right? And you went along and you did your thing. That didn't work out. And then, you continue beyond Complex, right? And did more of the stuff that you're still doing now and doing your Twitch and all this other stuff. So my point I'm saying is, I just love it when, generations upon generations want to talk shit about the previous generations, such as DJ Akademiks making a mistake that he made, in which he doesn't understand that money is not everything, number one. Number two, when you're talking about a culture, you wouldn't be nowhere if it wasn't for you adding to the culture in a period that you did. You understand? So, I know I'm one that usually critiques this generation for their music and stuff like that, but my whole entire thing is this: at the end of the day, each generation brings their own spice and brings their own thing into a music genre. It doesn't matter who you are. Now, I hear different things like drill, trap is kind of like just there, whatever. But the beautiful thing about music is that it always evolves, but we never forget where it comes from. How we started off with, how to figure out organized sounds in a back in the day, to classical music, and then all these different things. We've made beautiful art out of that. The art of sampling, and then different cultures fusing together create one genre, or one culture creating their own sound. So, like I said, to DJ Akademiks, it's just about him being ignorant, not understanding what he's talking about, and just trying to make sure that he uses the idea of monetary value in order to belittle the people before him, or belittle the people within this generation. Because a lot of the times, I don't trip off of people talking as I get more money than you stuff, and I'm better than you because I got more money than you. You broke and da 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 da, this, that, and the third. The brokest man can create something wonderful. You understand? Just like if you go to a lot of times, especially with the so-called black men, who we know infamously has been made all these inventions, but the so-called white people or so-called white man stole the patents, and they got credit for something that a so-called black man did. And these so-called black men couldn't even rub two pennies together from where they was from. But guess what? They made a contribution to the world that everybody banks off of. So I don't want to hear this bullshit out of DJ Akademiks' mouth and him sitting up there saying that. And I think that should be a lesson to everybody. But I mean, at the end of the day, my message is my message. Not a lot of people is going to receive it. Not a lot of people is going to understand it. But I think that it's just really ugly to be able to say something like that and you have no understanding about the culture, and you have to use something external to make yourself feel good. Peace.